This is Dr. O'Hara, and I'm going to pick up where I left off after describing the format for the reference list and who can be the author of a source. So the first one I'm going to go over is journal articles, and there's two different formats for journal articles. One is for 2 to 7 authors, where we use the ampersand. The other one is for 8 or more authors, where we use the ellipsis. So both have the same elements that you need. It's just that for the author's name there's a distinction made here. So remember, we put them in order by the first author's last name. So here's the last name with a comma and a space, and then there's the initials with periods and a space between the initials. And then there's a period and a comma and a space. And then before the last author's name, there's, just like with these other ones, there's a period for the initial and then a comma and then the ampersand. So on this one we don't need a comma because this is the last author in the list. And then we'll put in the publishing information. It's in parentheses with a period here. Then we're going to put in the title of the article, capitalizing the first word of the title, subtitle, any proper nouns. And then we're going to have a period after the end of the title of the article, and then we have the title of the journal. So this is Journal of Medical Ethics. Notice how all the important words are capitalized. Of and the are not capitalized. Then there's a comma here with the volume number, which is in italics, and the issue number, which is not in italics but it's in parentheses. Then there's a comma and the range of pages, and there's a period here at the end. And then this one I have the DOI, and there's no period at the end here. The other thing with the author's initials is we don't use any of their credentials. And if you have an organization, you're going to put a period at the end. Just like you have a period here for the initial, you're going to have a period at the end for the name of the organization. There's 2 ways to have a title and subtitle. One is using a colon, the other one's using the dash. So we capitalize the first word of the title, subtitle, and any proper nouns. Remember not to change the order of the author's names. Okay, so if the article gives you the number of pages, you need to convert that to the range of pages. So look at the article and see if there are page numbers on each page. If not, many articles start on page 1, especially those from cyberspace, because there's no issue numbers, so there's no reason to have sequential page numbers. So I just count the number of pages, and if I didn't have pages 120 to 124, this would be 1 to 4, which is what I said right here. Okay, so there's always some confusion about the DOI and the URL. The DOI is preferred, which stands for Digital Object Identifier, and all journal articles and some books are assigned this number so that it can always be found. So recently, I think it was 2017, they changed it from this old format to this new format so that it would be like a hyperlink so that it's easier to go to the article. So whichever form is in the article is the one that you need to use. You can't change it. You can't put DOI in front of here. You can't put HTTP in front of here. So however it's listed in the article, that's the way it's going to be. And then there's no period at the end of a URL or a DOI. So the URL is the web address for the article. In this case, this is the new format for the DOI, but I can tell because it says right here, nova.edu, that this article was taken out of the library. And so one needs a password to be able to get into the library, which is true of any library. If I wanted to go to UCLA and use their library, I need a password to be able to access the articles. So you cannot use a password protected URL or DOI, which is for the library. So you may need to look at the article itself to see if it has a URL or a DOI. Okay, so in addition to people being authors, groups can be authors, and so I just copied this out of PubMed to show you. Here's one author, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and the last one here is a group. So remember, 2 to 7 authors, we use the ampersand. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is there's this superscript here, which is a function of PubMed, and it's not part of the author's name, so don't put it in. And it will take the reader to a footnote for the author's address or for some information about the facility or institution that the author is from. Okay, with 8 or more authors, we use the ellipsis. So there's no et al. In the reference list like there is for the in-text citations. So for 8 or more authors, you list the first 6 names, and then the ellipsis, and then the last author's name. So here's my example with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authors. And then I'm going to have the initial with the period with the comma, just like in any other of the format for the author's name. And then there's going to be a space here, and the dot, and a space, and the dot, and a space, and the dot, and a space, and the last author's name. Then remember, there's just the period here, and then the publication date, title of the article. This is title and a subtitle, so the accuracy is the first word, that's going to be capitalized. A is the first word of the subtitle, so that's going to be capitalized. And then we've got the name of the journal with the volume number, both are in italics, got the issue number, and then the range of pages. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here so that you can wrap your mind around this much, and then I'll pick it up with my next segment.